After years of heart-wrenching playoff exits and a recent blockbuster departure, can you feel the sheer exhaustion of hope, the gnawing uncertainty that plagues the Toronto Maple Leafs faithful? Is the relentless pursuit of change, this constant shuffling of the deck, finally a sign of genuine strategic intent, or merely another desperate gamble by a team perpetually stuck in neutral? The latest whispers from the hockey world suggest two veteran forwards, David Kampf and Calle Jarnkrok, are on the trade block. But what does this truly mean for a franchise burdened by sky-high expectations and a history of unfulfilled promise? The Toronto Maple Leafs, a team steeped in history and boasting one of the most passionate fan bases in all of sports, have found themselves in a peculiar kind of purgatory. Since the monumental signing of John Tavares in 2018, a move that was supposed to herald a new era of competitive dominance, the club has managed to win a mere 2 playoff series. 2. In an era defined by star power and offensive firepower, this statistic is not just disappointing, it's an indictment. What should have been the dawn of a sustained championship window has instead become a recurring nightmare of early playoff eliminations, each one more agonizing than the last. The weight of expectation in Toronto is immense, and for years, the team has buckled under its pressure, leaving a trail of frustrated fans and bewildered analysts in its wake. This past offseason brought another seismic shift to the Leafs landscape with the departure of dynamic forward Mitch Marner to the Vegas Golden Knights. Marner, a cornerstone of their offensive attack, was a significant loss, one that general manager Brad Treliving immediately sought to address by bringing in a flurry of new forwards. The intention was clear: replace the production, inject new energy, and finally break free from the shackles of past failures. However, this aggressive approach to roster reconstruction has inadvertently created a new challenge, a logjam of talent up front. According to Puckpedia, the Maple Leafs currently have a staggering 14 forwards under contract for the upcoming season. While depth is often touted as a virtue, an excess of it can lead to difficult decisions, unhappy players, and an imbalance in the salary cap. It's a classic case of having too many cooks in the kitchen, and now Treliving is looking to streamline the operation. This brings us to the latest reports from David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period, who indicates that David Kampf and Calle Jarnkrok are the 2 forwards currently available for trade. These aren't the marquee names that typically dominate trade headlines, but their potential movement speaks volumes about the Leafs' ongoing efforts to fine-tune their roster and, crucially, manage their salary cap. Let's first turn our attention to David Kampf. The Czech forward, known for his defensive prowess and penalty-killing abilities, has 2 years remaining on his contract, carrying an average annual value (AAV) of $2.4 million. While not an exorbitant figure in a cap-strapped league, every dollar counts. Kampf also possesses a 10-team no-trade list for the 2025-26 season, though he has no trade protection in the final year of his deal. This clause adds a layer of complexity to any potential trade, as it limits the number of destinations the Leafs can consider. Logically, it might be simpler to move him a year from now, when that protection is lifted. However, the urgency to resolve the logjam they face on the wings this year suggests that Toronto's management isn't willing to wait. They need to create space, both on the roster and under the cap, and they need to do it now. Kampf is a reliable, responsible player, but his offensive contributions are limited, and with a glut of new forwards vying for ice time, his role might be seen as expendable if it frees up critical flexibility. Then there's Calle Jarnkrok, a versatile forward who can play both wing and center. Jarnkrok's situation is slightly different, and perhaps more pressing. He has just 1 year left on his contract with an AAV of $2.1 million, and also carries a 10-team no-trade list. The crucial detail here is that he will become an unrestricted free agent after this season. For a team like the Maple Leafs, who have seen valuable assets walk away for nothing in the past, trading Jarnkrok now would be a strategic move to get something in return for the player, rather than letting him depart without compensation. His offensive production in Toronto has been modest, with only 7 points in 19 games last season and a total of 67 points in 144 appearances. While he brings veteran experience and versatility, his offensive output doesn't quite justify his cap hit given the team's current depth. Moving Jarnkrok would be a classic sell high, or at least sell for something before he walks for nothing scenario. So, who are the potential suitors for these two depth forwards? The information suggests that bottom feeder teams are the primary interested parties. These are franchises often looking to hit the salary cap floor, acquire veteran leadership for their younger rosters, or simply take on contracts that won't cripple their long-term financial outlook. The San Jose Sharks, a team in the midst of a deep rebuild, have already demonstrated a willingness to help the Maple Leafs out of a bind, having taken on the contract of Ryan Reeves in the past. Could they once again lend a hand, perhaps in exchange for a sweetener from Toronto? Another intriguing possibility, and one that sparks a different kind of emotional resonance for Leafs fans, involves the Pittsburgh Penguins. With former Leafs GM Kyle Dubas now at the helm in Pittsburgh, there's a clear connection. The Penguins have reportedly shown interest in Nick Robertson, a promising young forward whom Dubas himself drafted during his tenure in Toronto. Could a package deal be in the works? Imagine a scenario where the Penguins take on one of these veteran contracts, perhaps even both, and in return, the Leafs part with Robertson, a player who has struggled to find a consistent role in Toronto, but still possesses significant offensive upside. This wouldn't just be a cap-clearing move, it would be a strategic exchange of assets, potentially benefiting both clubs. For the Penguins, it could mean acquiring a cost-controlled prospect and some veteran depth. For the Leafs, it would mean shedding salary and perhaps opening a roster spot for another player. The challenge, of course, lies in the negotiation. Will the Maple Leafs have to retain salary on either Kampf or Jarnkrok to facilitate a trade? Will they need to attach a draft pick or another prospect to entice a team to take on these contracts? These are the questions that Treliving and his management team are undoubtedly grappling with. In a league where cap space is king, even relatively small contracts can be difficult to move without some form of incentive. Despite these ongoing roster adjustments and the perpetual carousel of players, the Maple Leafs will still enter the upcoming season with incredibly high expectations. This is the reality of playing in Toronto. The fan base, starved for deep playoff runs and a Stanley Cup, demands nothing less. The season kicks off on October 8th at home against their bitter rivals, the Montreal Canadiens, a game that will undoubtedly be charged with emotion and anticipation. These potential trades, while seemingly minor on the surface, are part of a larger, more complex strategy to finally build a team capable of sustained success. They are about creating flexibility, optimizing the roster, and ensuring that every dollar spent contributes meaningfully to the ultimate goal. The question remains, are these moves a sign of a truly evolving strategy, a genuine attempt to learn from past mistakes and build a more resilient, adaptable team? Or are they simply another series of desperate maneuvers, a frantic attempt to rearrange the deck chairs on a ship that has repeatedly failed to navigate the stormy waters of the NHL playoffs? The answer will only be revealed on the ice. But for now, the constant churn of the roster, the whispers of trades, and the ever-present weight of expectation continue to define the Toronto Maple Leafs' tumultuous journey. What do you make of these potential trades, Leafs Nation? Are Kampf and Jarnkrok the right players to move to create space, or should Treliving be looking elsewhere? Share your thoughts, your frustrations, and your hopes for the season in the comments below. And if you're as passionate about the blue and white as we are, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all the latest insights and analysis on your Toronto Maple Leafs.